We're super glad to see you. My name is Garret Westlake. I'm the Executive Director of the Vinci Center. The Masters of Product Innovation program is definitely the crown jewel of the Vinci Center. So we're thrilled that you're interested in this program. You're in great hands tonight with Allison and Mary Chris. They're going to guide you through a whole bunch of information about the program itself, our facilities, the courses, all that kind of good stuff you need to know to apply. But as the executive director for Da Vinci, I did just want to pop on at the start to introduce myself. Allison and Mary Chris know this, but a little bit about me and why I care about what we do in Da Vinci. I was diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia in the first grade. I grew up really hating school, but I always loved learning. I was a kid that was curious and was always trying to combine different points of view and different perspectives. And for me, what Da Vinci brings to the table is a real cross-disciplinary commitment to curiosity. It's for people that are innately curious, that bring different viewpoints, whether it's because they have a background in one discipline or they have a background in several different disciplines. Everyone brings their unique perspectives, backgrounds, professional, personal to the table. And we run a really inclusive human cohort. So we keep a small program. We cap this program at 20 students. We do that so that as faculty, we get to know you as individuals, we get to know what you're interested in, what you're working on, and we get to sort of geek out alongside whatever it is you're interested in. So we get to learn new things along the way. That's really what drives me. I'll speak for myself. Like that's what drives me, is getting to work alongside other people that are curious, that want to learn new things. And we do that in a variety of spaces, whether it's for corporate partners. We work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies and startup companies, helping them be more innovative and exploring the future of product. But we also do that in the entrepreneurship space, and those two are increasingly related. I'm a former founder. I ran a tech startup for a number of years, and we see a lot of parallels between entrepreneurial thinking and what it takes to be innovative, and even in a large corporation in the product space today. So we're going to get into all of that, but I did just want to jump in and say hi. And if there are any questions that folks have for me, I'm more than happy to answer a couple of quick questions that if there's something that you really want to ask me as the executive director, I'm happy to do. Otherwise, you'll have plenty of time to ask questions with Allison and Mary Chris. All right. Well, I'll take that. So
it was nice to meet you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. So, enjoy. I'll let Allison and Mary Chris take you through it now. But if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out. I'll drop my info in the chat. We're here. Like, again, we do this because we really care about students. So I'll drop my email in there. If you have questions for me afterwards that you think would be specific to me, happy to set up a one-on-one or engage in answering your questions via email. But have a good night, and it's good to meet you all.
All right, thanks so much for stopping by, Garrett. Always nice to have you. Welcome, everybody. I did want to let everyone know that we are recording this session because we do send it to people who sign up who might not be here. So feel free to be camera on, camera off, whatever feels comfortable to you, knowing that we're recording. My name is Mary Chris Escobar. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Success at the Da Vinci Center, and I am joined tonight by Allison Schumacher, who is our Director of Academic Alchemy. And I will let her tell you a little bit more about what that means when she gets to her slides. It's a super fun title and really indicative of what we do here. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen so that you all can follow along here, and hopefully everybody can see my slides. All right, thank you. So Garrett kind of gave you an overview and what is really important to him about the Da Vinci Center. This is kind of our official mission statement here that we want to share with you all. We really believe that we are prototyping the future of higher education. We are doing that through product innovation and venture creation, but where our passion really lies is teaching students in a real world and hands-on way leading with empathy, teaching design thinking, and bringing students together from all different backgrounds and all different disciplines. We think that there is so much power in cross-disciplinary collaboration. And so that is really at the core of what we do and what we want to do at Da Vinci. We're going to talk tonight about how we do that through the combination of entrepreneurship and product innovation in our Master of Product Innovation program. But know that really our mission is bringing people together, as Garrett said, to be curious and solve problems. We have a series of design aspirations here, and I love that they are our design aspirations. We are not saying that we are perfect at all of these things all the time or right now, but these are the things that we strive to be as a center and that we hope come across as students are working with us. I'm not going to read every single one to you. Obviously, the Be Student Focused is very close to my heart as the Associate Director of Student Success. And so, really taking into account student feedback and the student experience as part of our programs is important to us. You'll also notice that there's the concentric circles over on the side, and we really fall into 3 different buckets with what we do at the center. So tonight we are going to talk to you about a very specific one of our academic offerings, our Master of Product Innovation program. We'll mention some other academic offerings we have just so you know a little bit more about the center. But we also have a number of things that we do that are experiential. A lot of that is through our Shift Retail Lab. But we have a lot of experiences that are open to any student at VCU, and we even have some community-based experiences as well that are helping people experience design thinking and experience entrepreneurship and product innovation. And then we have a whole realm of things that we do that are experimental. We really take our role as the Center for Innovation seriously. We want to model what we're teaching. And so things change. And if you have a friend who came through the MPI who has referred you here tonight, things might look a little different than when that friend came through. If you were in our programs in undergrad or knew someone who was, things are always shifting and changing. And we love that. We want to, again, incorporate feedback, embrace failure. Not every endeavor works. And so we really believe that and try to model that with our experimental programming. I will quickly mention that Shift Retail Lab, which we will probably talk about throughout this presentation, but it is our newest offering at the Da Vinci Center. And it was a world-changing idea with Fast Company in 2022 in the urban design category. For those of you familiar with VCU's campus, this is located right across from the Siegel Center. If you're not familiar with Richmond and the VCU area, it is kind of right in the heart of downtown, across from basically the university's basketball arena where a lot of community events happen. But this space is for student entrepreneurs to showcase their work at all stages, from I woke up in the middle of the night with an idea all the way to I already have a thing that I'm selling. And this is a space for students to get feedback and mentorship. It's for peers to come in and give feedback and have that experience. We do markets once a month where if you are ready to sell, you can sell. Students maintain all profits from this. This is not a moneymaker for Da Vinci. This is something for students. And it's the first of its kind in the country, and so we're really proud of it. We also use this space quite a bit for those experiential programs that we offer. So we do design jams and design thinking training. And we'll talk about this when we talk about some of the perks for you as a student, but this is available to Masters of Product Innovation students to try out their ideas. And we have some fun examples of how that has happened in the past that we'll share later. But just want to kick off with a little bit of information about who we are at Da Vinci and kind of from my perspective, since you heard Garrett's perspective. And Allison, I'll turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself and talk about our academic programs.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. I am Allison Schumacher. I'm Director of Academic Alchemy for the VCU Da Vinci Center and co-director of the Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Innovation. And what we mean by academic alchemy here is that part of our process underlying all of our academic programs is really using design thinking or human-centered design to understand the opinions and the perspectives and the problems that our students, mentors, faculty, sponsors, staff, all experience, and then making adjustments to what we do at the center in order to align with those goals. So we rarely teach a class that is exactly the same from semester to semester. Most of the time we are looking at how we can shift the program to meet new needs from industry, to align what our students are learning to what they're going to do in the real world. Or if students identify gaps that they really need a deeper understanding in a particular subject, we may mix that academic and experiential, those two circles, in our model, and launch some new courses in some topics courses to allow our students to explore those topics. Great thing about being an innovation center, you tend to collect a lot of friends with a lot of specialties. So for an example in that, before I jump into the academic programs, had a meeting with the director of innovation for Dominion Energy this morning, Alex Moyes, and he has proposed a 1 credit 591, so graduates and undergraduates can take this course on looking at sustainable energy and how we may look at mineral collection, mineral mining. We may look at solar and how that taps into the grid, how the infrastructure, how we need to have a better infrastructure in order to support green energy and those kinds of things in the future, and how do we work towards that. So really, really fantastic 1 credit course. That one's alongside a bunch of other 1 credit courses that we offer in the program to allow students kind of pick and choose their direction and what they really want to learn as their specialties as they walk through this program. But on a higher level, we offer undergraduate and graduate programs through Da Vinci. We do not have any undergraduate majors. We have what called baccalaureate certificates. So we do that in product innovation and venture creation. The biggest distinction between those two is that in product innovation, the problems that our students are solving in their capstones really are coming from industry. Those Pfizer's, CarMax's, Capital One's, the startups or nonprofits, they are coming with validated problems to present to our students, and then cross-disciplinary teams in arts and business, engineering, humanities, really from all different backgrounds, are placed onto teams with mentors and faculty to help them guide this very real world problem forward into solutions that could potentially be implemented now, 5-10 years in the future, looking at what is viable and possible right now, but maybe what also might be a more innovative solution that we could look at, down the road. The venture creation program starts with the students. So that is helping students develop their confidence to be an entrepreneur and to potentially launch their own products while they are still in school. This is a safe place to be able to take those risks. It's not always an easy thing to do when you're out of school and you're maintaining a full-time job or making house payments or all those kinds of things. But while as an undergrad, you can explore what it means to be an entrepreneur and all the topics that go into that to try to put you on a path forward to potentially become an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, someone who has the entrepreneurial mindset but works in industry. Everything we do, like I said, is based in human-centered design. So we also offer some courses that are open to all undergraduate students in human-centered design, really looking at the basics and then working with clients, both nonprofit clients and for-profit clients. So we have a couple different classes that define those, and they're much shorter. They're like 8-week courses, 1 to 2 credits, those kinds of things. And then the graduate program, the master's program, the reason why you are all here for the Master of Product Innovation, that one is kind of the combination of all of those topics, right? You're going to work on problems from industry. They're going to be a bit more messy than what we would see at the undergraduate level. We're going to push you a little harder on those. And then you also develop that entrepreneurial mindset by going through experiences where you're starting with an idea and working it towards commercialization. We're never going to make you start a business, but that mindset and how to approach an idea, validate it, prototype, and actually move towards something that users will really love, it has to be a part of a product innovation program. We just don't see it being high quality without it. And then the last program here is the Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Innovation. And that is a partnership between the VCU School of Nursing and their Nursing Leadership Program and the MPI program. So it's 6 credits out of each. And I got more information on the next slide here to describe those, so I don't go too far into it. So some details about the MPI. Really, it's designed to be a 13-month to 18-month program. So starting in the summer, you can take some electives. You can go to Portugal with me if you want to. for the European Innovation Academy, or you can take a course here that will also apply for that credit, given we know we have a lot of people who work full-time and may not be able to take 3 weeks off to go to Europe to have that adventure. It's very much cross-disciplinary. In the fall semesters, you go through arts and design, business, and engineering and technology courses to kind of round out your mindset. If you come from engineering, you can opt out of the engineering class. Same thing. If you're a graphic designer, you can opt out of the arts and design course. We usually ask students to kind of look through our syllabi and understand if they have the foundation that is strong enough that they think they shouldn't take those courses, because like the business class is very much rooted in product and in innovation and gives a lot of context to what it means to work for industry, or what it means to start your own business, and how you convince your stakeholders to take your ideas and carry them forward. Everything here is meant to be real, right? So the projects you work on for industry, the goal is that they actually take them and turn them into something real in the end, and that happens very frequently. And we want you to create things that are real too. Very much focused on advanced product innovation. Every single person that we have teaching in this program does this stuff in real life. So, Jeff Hammond, who teaches the business class, he is an international business consultant. His co-teacher, Sonali, she's been a serial CTO, chief technical officer. She's also a biomedical engineer, and she is just a badass in business. So she teaches that class. She's going to be teaching our capstone in the spring. We have people who, regularly work with like AWS, Amazon Web Services, and technology-based platforms and all kinds of things. But everybody here is working in product in some way and doing this stuff in real life. Heck, that director of innovation for Dominion Energy I was talking about co-teaches in our technology and engineering course alongside a senior engineer from Canon Cameras. So lots of opportunities to expand your network just within our faculty and beyond that. And then looking at the graduate certificate in healthcare innovation, this one is a 12 credit program. So like I said, 6 and 6, 6 from nursing, 6 from here. But the purpose of this program is to allow students who maybe have an interest in developing solutions for healthcare that may not know the regulations, the safety, how do you actually get the change management to come in? Like, how do you actually work a solution into a healthcare system? Because it's probably more difficult than you might assume. And just understanding what the users on that end may need, along with healthcare providers who see problems in the healthcare system every day and come up with product ideas, but may not know how to commercialize those, or, develop them, get them protected, and then license that technology so they don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur. And the really great thing about, and the reason why we talk about this one in this particular info session, is that if you choose to do both of these things, the graduate certificate is no additional cost beyond what you would pay for the MPI program. The 6 credits from nursing fit nicely into the 6 credits you need for this master's program. And our tuition is capped after you're full time. So if you're at 9 credits, you can take 12 or 15 credits and we're not going to charge you any more tuition. You might have some fees, depending, if you're in state, out of state, and what class it is. But in terms of the tuition, it's capped at 9 credits. And so you could take more than just the 2 nursing classes for your electives, get as much as you want out of this program and not pay any additional tuition there. All right, so next program. All right.
Hey, I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I have a super quick question.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
For that nursing degree, I saw it was 12 credit hours. Do you know how many hours roughly the regular master's for product innovation would be? That 13 to 18 months, would that be a typical 12 credit an hour or 12 credits a semester?
No. The fall semester, if you're coming from a background that's not in arts and business and engineering, that semester might be a 12 credit semester for you, but the rest of the program really should be at 9 credits or even 6 credits during the summer months. So 6 credits can be considered full-time for a master's student in the summer months. And as a master's student, you only have to be enrolled for 5 credit hours in order to be eligible for federal funding, unlike being an undergraduate student where you need to be in 12.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same thing for international students who have to be full-time. Generally it's 6 in the summer and 9 in the regular semesters. But yeah, great question. Thank you for speaking up there. Feel free to do that throughout. Do you have any other questions before I move forward?
Not so far, but I'll definitely let you know.
Fantastic. I guarantee other people will have questions too.
Yeah.
So always speaking up. Okay, so looking at our sequence of courses for the MPI, this is written as for a summer start student, which is really how the program has been designed to give you the breadth of knowledge before diving in deep and really getting, to the meat of what's in the program. So I'm just going to read it out through here in terms of full-time, give you an idea of what these courses are, and then we'll kind of look at some other options for part-time. So summer 2023, imagine this, you are in Portugal. You have come to the European Innovation Academy with us in Porto, Portugal. We are paying for your accommodations and your ticket into EIA, and you get to join 65 different nationalities, about usually 400 to 600 students in that space. You're being mentored by executives from Google and Twitter and Ducati and Amazon and name a big company, and they're most likely there. So again, another opportunity to expand your network professionally, and then also amongst other students who are there. So, later on, after you're done with this program, you're like, you know what, I really need a full stack developer for this app I'm developing, for a product. You can reach out to the 50,000 students who have already gone through EIA and know that they have this baseline knowledge, they've gone through this challenge in the past. We've also had mentors from that program employ MPIs after they've left the program. So European Innovation Academy, you go from idea to pitching to investors in just 3 weeks. It is fly by the seat of your pants, bootstrap as much as you can, and you have to make quick decisions. That is meant to kind of show the entire process of product development and entrepreneurship in just a short period of time. And then you come back into the fall semester where we start to focus on industry, we slow down, we talk about innovation in an in-depth way, and really start digging into the things that might interest you and really working on some products that can contribute to your portfolio. The alternative to taking this class, this came in with the onset of COVID, understanding that not everybody's comfortable with travel. And we just went back to the European Innovation Academy this year. So we had a 2-year break, and we were able to travel this year. So will be an option in 2023, pending no other pandemics. I know to say this now, the unexpected became the thing. So here we go. The alternative is this course in 0610, which is innovation, design thinking, and change management. It delivers about 3 internationally certified, 3 internationally recognized certifications in design thinking and change management through Experience Point. This is taught by Gopa Nair. He does design thinking within places like Capital One and government agencies. And so he's applying it in the real world, and you absolutely apply design thinking in this course. You should have a really good understanding of what it is by the time you're done with that course, but it can be in place of 600. Now, if you look in the bulletin, you're not going to see that yet, because that is a change that I just entered that won't show until fall of 2023, but it is going through. So if you have questions about what order you're going through, you can refer back to this slide deck. Looking at fall, like I said, it's more focused on industry and you gaining that vocabulary and that overarching knowledge of how people who think differently than you solve problems. So, if you're taking a course in art design, in business, in engineering and technology, we can't turn you into a designer through one 500 level class. We can't turn you into an engineer, but what we can do is bring you through the problem solving process of each of those groups and how they might think about the world or how they might see the world. So when you go out and are working on cross-disciplinary teams, you can communicate, you can understand what their concerns and their challenges might be. So that way you can help bring the group together. So this is why we see a lot of our students become product managers, actually running product teams or joining leadership, because they can see the high level, the strengths of everyone and get people talking and on the same level with the same vocabulary. So the 501 is the arts and design, the 502 is business, 503 is the engineering course. And then 590 is a course that I teach, and that is the project course. So there are lots of examples of things that come out of this course. We are working on several projects that I can't really talk about because we're under non-disclosure. But there are plenty that we can talk about. There's a few that I'd like to give a couple examples. I'm trying to bring up, I think, the best ones off the top of my head that are no longer covered by an NDA or weren't in the first place. But I'll talk a little bit about Answers Now. So Answers Now delivers virtual education to kids with autism. This is like a counseling of ABA therapy that allows them to do this wherever they are. Commonly, if you are a family who has a child with autism, you may not be near a trainer or a teacher if you live in a rural area, and you may have to travel a great distance in order to get to them. So this group came out of Lighthouse Labs, a top 25 accelerator here in Richmond, and said, listen, we really think that we need to develop some new tools for our mobile application and really work to improve it, so we can improve the communication between the students, the parent, and the teacher. So before this, the parent wasn't really included in like what was happening. They might be sitting next to their child while they're going through the training, but in terms of bringing that education into the home, it wasn't there. And the students who took on this project, they recognized by talking to parents that they were kind of cut out of the situation, or cut out of all of the communication, in that they didn't know how to apply what their child was learning and reinforce that in the home. So our students mimicked a period tracker in order for a parent to very easily go on and be able to click just a simple color to identify what the behavior of their child was, and then another color to identify what their response was to that behavior and be able to take notes. And so all that information could go to the teacher. And now everybody is more or less on the same page and can work together to reinforce habits and behaviors that help everybody involved. This was a really impactful solution, in that right after the students made the pitch at the end of my 590 class, Answers Now went out and managed to raise their next round of $1 million. So it's something that's already been implemented, it's been put into practice, and has turned out to be one heck of a solution for a local startup, which is pretty great. And if you want more examples, I'm going to keep us on time here, so I'm not going to share many more at this point. But there are lots of examples of digital and physical products, services, processes. The word product can be a pretty broad term in terms of how we're creating innovation and improvement. Then looking at spring, this is where the capstone comes in. So that's a one class that is 6 credits. That class, do you have a question? Sorry, I'm seeing your face.
Yeah. Yes, super quick. I'm curious. So I know that y'all said for the Shift Retail Lab, the students, if the product was ready to sell or any of their innovations were ready to sell, all of the profits and anything garnered from that would be given to the student. As far as it goes, when we're partnering with actual like companies, like you said, like Answer or any other company we might be with, what does that compensation structure look like? Is it just credit for coming up with that? Or since we had assistance from teachers, would it be more for like an experience than for actual like credit for coming up with that idea that company used?
Yes, and. So it's a little bit of all of that. So the 590 class is the only place in the Master of Product Innovation program where you may have to sign non-disclosure agreements or intellectual property assignments, meaning that if you create intellectual property, if you create something that can be patented, something that's novel, your name goes on that patent. You have the same rights as an employee of that company to having your name on that patent. Plus, that's just good legal use. It's what a litigation attorney is going to go after. If there's someone who contributed and isn't on the patent, or someone who didn't contribute and is on the patent, they're going to break that up so that their client can end up using that patent. So that is the only place that's there. Everything else in this program, we will bend over backwards to make sure that our students maintain 100% ownership of all of their IP. VCU has a general policy of not taking student intellectual property unless students choose to assign that intellectual property to the university in exchange for it being protected. Like if I go to Innovation Gateway, let's say you have a product that you want to you need to protect, but you don't have the $2,500, $3,000 to get a provisional patent, or the $25,000 to get a full-scale patent. We can definitely get that provisional patent, and then we can work with you and see if the university, if that technology or that product is in a space that the university will foot the bill for that full patent, and then create a licensing agreement with you. We also have IP attorneys that teach in our programs that have helped our students develop their own intellectual property in the past, that the university doesn't touch it at all. The exception for this rule is if you are on a grant. So if a grant is funding the research that is contributing to the product, or if you're using an exceptional amount of faculty or university resources. So in this program, we don't count in terms of using faculty, because that's what we're here for. That's part of the big experience in the program. We're not going to try to take your ideas. All we're going to do is try to help make sure that you know all the pathways that you can go down to be able to choose to find your own success. But yeah, that is in exchange for an experience and to be able to be given the data that is necessary to work on that identified problem. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay, so spring, looking at 651. This is where you're developing that entrepreneurship mindset. That's where we'll meet you where you are. So if you already have a product, we will meet you where you are with that product, and your goals for that course will be set to move you forward from where you are. It's a brand new idea. We work with you to validate that idea, start to prototype, build, test, learn loops in order to move you towards commercialization. But not all the students are going to come out in the exact same place at the end of that course. I will use an example. You can go on a Kickstarter and you can see Julian. Julian has a product that is a vegan jerky. It's made out of jackfruit. It's called Jacked. He came in with that product from undergrad. He was a part of our undergraduate programs, and then we recruited him into the MPI. And when he started 651, he started with, okay, I know that I need to be able to up my production. I need to be able to scale my production because I'm selling out at every farmer's market I go to. I know that I need packaging that's actually going to protect my product and keep it fresh. And I need to be able to sell this in stores. So his model really looked towards, okay, let's form a partnership with Hatch Kitchen, right? So you can go use Hatch Kitchen and all their equipment without having to buy that equipment himself. Let's help you make connections to figure out what kind of packaging needs to happen. Are there, do we need like those little packets that go in the packaging to like keep things at the right level of moisture? Who's designing this packaging, since he's not a designer? All kinds of things. And how do we protect what it is that he's doing and help him move forward? So he launched his Kickstarter campaign. And so now he has been able to scale. He has all of his packaging. It's really beautiful. You can go on Kickstarter and see the pack. Oh, it's so beautiful. Sorry, I'm a graphic designer. It's so pretty. It's just really nice. And now he is like talking to groups like Elwyn Thompson's, Whole Foods and those groups to be able to get his product actually on the shelf. So his outcome is very different than our students who, have an idea about potentially, building an artist collective or a musicians collective here in Richmond to help them better be able to sell tickets and connect to venues. They're still pretty early on. That was a new idea that they brought in and have worked to build it up, and they've started to really build their network, but they're not ready to launch yet. And that's okay. These things take a good long time to build up, but I will say, we don't disappear when people graduate. So there are still students who come back to us, our alumni who come back to us for help, for introductions, to expand their network, and we're happy to do so. So that course, very much in the vein of bringing an idea forward. You can partner with others, you can borrow technology from tech transfer, all kinds of stuff. Lots of options. You do not have to come into the program with an established product idea. If you have identified problems, awesome, but I don't want to put the pressure on that you need to come in with an established product, because it is not necessary. We can help you get there. Then in the summer of 2024, really looking at the 652, that's the second half of the Capstone project. And this is where it gets interesting. You do not have to be in Richmond to take this course. We have always offered this course remotely. We have a lot of students in town who want to meet in person. Sure, we can do that too. But ultimately, this course is to help launch you out into the world. So you might continue your product from 651 if you want to. We have a review process you have to go through. You do have to be approved for that. Or you can pursue an internship in product. So you can go out and work into the world. If you have a job already, you might be working harder on one particular project that might be separate from your normal work, or allows you to do a deep dive, but ultimately trying to help you move up in the company, help you learn how to manage up, right? So if you're in let's say with CoStar, and there's a bunch of interns beyond you, we want to help you win that internship. We want to make sure that you are one of the students who can get that job at the end of that internship. That's what your goal is. But yeah, and then the third option for that is to write a traditional master's thesis, which no one ever does because this is an applied program. But it's still an option. And I see students who potentially want to get PhDs in the future being a good candidate for that. So it's giving you your writing examples in order to get into that PhD later on. Okay. All right, next slide. I think the next one's on you. Yep.
So that was kind of our traditional summer start. It's a great way to talk through our classes and just kind of let you know what the program is about. But there are different ways to move through our program. And so we do have a couple slides here just letting you know. So if summer just isn't going to, if you already know now, like it's just not going to work for you to start in the summer, you already have something big planned this summer, you are able to start our program in the fall. That does push it to more of an 18-month program, as you can see here. So when you start in the fall, you do that sequence of classes. That's the business arts and engineering and tech course, the project class that Allison talked about. You still start all of those classes. And in the spring, you still move on to the first part of that capstone where you're exploring entrepreneurship. There are 6 credits of electives required in our program. And so you'll see those sort of interspersed in different places. We offer things toward that, like the classes that Allison was talking about earlier, the 591 course that's going to be a new class. We also offer that class on IP law. We have a class in user research. So a number of things that you can do. Some of those are stackable 1-credit classes that you can use. And some of those are offered in the summer, designed to prepare you to go to EIA. You also have the ability to take an elective class from anywhere around the university that you feel like maybe fills in a gap in your knowledge. For example, we've had students who want to work kind of in a nonprofit space, and they've taken classes with Wilder School in their nonprofit certificate. We've had a couple students take things through the MBA program. They don't come in with a strong background in business, and they want to take some of the coursework down there. So lots of different ways to kind of choose your adventure with those electives. But when you start with us in the fall, you take the 6-credit course that is the entrepreneurship focused part of your capstone, along with an elective. And then you fill in those summer courses. So either the trip to EIA or the design thinking and change management course. You can fill in those stackable electives that I was talking about there around IP law, user research, user experience, user design, and we also do Scrum product owner training in the summer.
Yeah, I just kind of skipped over those, didn't I, Mary Chris?
It's totally fine. That's why we both do these together, because I skip things all the time. So those electives fill in there in the summer, and then you finish with that capstone course where you get to choose your own adventure, whether that is doing an internship or continuing on with the project from 651 or writing a thesis. You actually do that in the fall semester. So that is what the program looks like from a fall start. We also do get some questions. Also, let me go back while we're talking about electives and filling in there. When we talked about the healthcare innovation certificate, those 6 credits of electives are the 2 nursing classes that you take for the healthcare innovation certificate. And so that is how that math works out, where you don't have to spend any additional time or pay any additional money to do both the certificate and the Master of Product Innovation. I will also mention that you can go above the 6 credits of electives. That doesn't hurt anything. So if you are doing the healthcare innovation certificate, but you also want to do the 1-credit IP law or the 1-credit Scrum product owner training, you can just do those. And that's okay to have extra electives. It's fine to graduate with more credits than you need. And that works really well into that flat tuition rate at 9 credits.
Can I do a plug real quick? Because I feel like students at EIA last year, after we did the IP for Startups class, they were regretting not taking that class. So IP law probably sounds super boring.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, this is not. This is IP for Startups is looking at how do startups use intellectual property to compete with the giants. And so you end up working with like 3 clients in that class. The faculty member on Lou is probably one of the most entertaining people I've met in my life. And he's a partner at Nixon Peabody. Just super energetic, super engaged person who loves working with students. And he brings real cases from his firm into the classroom for students to work with. So they are learning and applying at the same time. This class is 1 week long. 1 week, you go into class for like 4 hours a night and you have graduate credit. Many of our summer courses are like that.
Yeah, it's a great class. I'm fascinated by, like, I might be one of the few people in the world, but like I am fascinated by like copyright and intellectual property. And so anyway, that's a good plug. We do often also get asked if you can attend our program part-time. So maybe you're juggling this with work. That is absolutely fine. And so this is an example of what that could look like if you started in the fall and went part-time. There's some flexibility, especially with those electives. But where there isn't flexibility is that 500 series of classes, the 501, 502, 503, 590 are only offered in the fall. So you see that reflected here. The 651 is only offered in the spring. So you kind of see that and how that would sequence out reflected here. But essentially this gets you to a 6 credit a semester part-time schedule, if that is something that feels appealing with what you're juggling alongside grad school, because we know a lot of people are juggling work and family and all kinds of things. The question I frequently get about this is it the same experience part-time? And I'm going to say kind of yes and, like Allison did earlier. I mean, it isn't. Like, you do move through the program, obviously, in 13 or 18 months with the same group of people, and you're taking all your classes with that same group of people, and you get that true cohort model. You're going to not quite get that the same way when you take the class over 2 years, or the program over 2 years. But the positive feedback that I have gotten from students who have done this is you actually get to meet 2 different cohorts. So as long as you are really invested in meeting people in your classes, you're going to span 2 different cohorts and get to meet an even larger network of people. So it is an absolutely doable and fine way to go through our program. Know that you will be crossing 2 cohorts, but there are some positives in that, for you as well. I also like to point out here, as someone who went through a traditional master's program, that was a 60 credit master's that is designed to take 2 years full time. It took me 4+ some part-time. What's really, really cool about our program is, because it's an accelerated master's, is if you need to go part-time, it is still just a 2-year program, which I think can feel like way less challenging than biting off a 4+ year master's program. So definitely that's a fine way to go through. Allison, I'll turn it back over to you to talk through some of the perks.
Excellent. So just looking at some of the perks that we have in the program, some resources that we have for students. They go beyond this, but this is what would fit on the slide. We really try to support our students. Like we said, we're very student focused and want to make sure that the student experience is pretty great. The use of the Shift Retail Lab, we already kind of spoke about. That is open for MPI students, undergraduate students, really any student at VCU. Can also apply to alumni. So if you're not, currently an alumni of VCU, you can go through this, and you can even use Shift after you leave the program. We do give you $1,000 within Capstone Funding. So this is funding that you use for your 651, 652 experience to prototype, to buy software, to, like Julian being able to buy packaging for his product. It's $1,000. It's only going to go so far, but ultimately we know that coming to a program like this isn't inexpensive, and it can be challenging to have some spare cash around to be able to do the things that you need to do to make the progress that you need to make on a product. That money can also be used to attend conferences. If you write an abstract, you get accepted to a conference, we'll pay for you to go. You don't have to use your $1,000 to do that. But ultimately trying to make sure that you can utilize all of your time in the program. So we generally make those purchases for you, but you can learn about that stuff later. But there is $1,000 available to you just by being an MPI. We have a one-on-one mentoring and network access. So what that means, this developed out of feedback from our students. You're like, listen, y'all are a small team, and we would really like to engage more with the Da Vinci crew and get some one-on-one mentoring and hear what you've gone through as you develop products and businesses and those kinds of things. We'd like to have better contact with your network. So this is now a permanent part of the program, where at least once a month we put you on a schedule so that you see a mentor once a month. There's 3 of us right now. So you may rotate between each of us throughout a semester, but we are accessible to our students all the time. So I can meet with 2 or 3 students in a day, and the very same students the next week. They may or may not be on my schedule, but if they need my time, they get my time. So as long as I'm not traveling and I have the ability, I'm going to give them my time. I've spent a couple hours last week developing a physical prototype in our makerspace that's shown here with 2 of our students, one to train the student who's running the lab and for the student who's trying to develop the product. And that is like a vacation to me. You want to build something? Yes, please invite me. I'm happy to join that. Let's do it. No skin off of my back. That is fun. So with the mentoring, we are helping you establish what you might do for your capstone. This is where we're like, hey, what are you interested in? You don't know? Okay, you have a few different topics you might be interested in. Had someone today that said they were interested in working in entertainment, in UX UI, in a couple other different avenues in medical. And I was like, okay, well, let's figure this out. Here are some people that I can introduce you to, and then go meet with them, take them to coffee or just have a quick Zoom call, and then ask for 2 other people to be introduced to in that. And so you really start to web out on your network. And we're happy to make those introductions. People can go onto our LinkedIn and just identify who they want introductions to, and we will gladly make those connections for them. Most of the time they work out, sometimes they don't, but that's okay. We have plenty of people in our network to be able to figure out who to introduce you to and help you figure out where you want to go and what you want to do. Those meetings are easy. People like to talk about themselves and what they do. You also get a free Adobe Creative Cloud access. VCU is one of 30 Adobe Creative campuses now that exist in this country, and every student at VCU gets free access to Adobe, which is pretty great. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a makerspace at our 807 South Cathedral Place location. It is only meant for certificate students. So as soon as you are registered for one of our classes, your VCU ID can scan you into the building, and you can use the laser cutters, the 3D printers. We just got a vacuum form machine, which is pretty cool in terms of like creation of packaging and that kind of stuff. We have, we have like 5 3D printers at this point. You can print flexible filaments and those kinds of things, sewing machines, like the Cricut things. I have one over here, so you can like cut labels and package all kinds of things, a bunch of hand tools. And we have things like wood and styrofoam and all of the types of filament you may need for 3D printing. All of that's provided by the center. Whatever, or at least whatever's in the lab, you are free to use, unless it's clearly labeled with somebody's name. It is, everything that we have there is for our students to use. And we have a graduate assistant who is trained on all that equipment that then trains the other students. So with that said, there is one thing on this that I haven't mentioned, but I'll get to the last point in a second. We do offer graduate assistantships and scholarships to our students. So we have $10,000 fellowships that we offered this year, where our students basically define, they submit an application with a topic that they want to explore while they're in the program. And then we help connect to the networks. They develop a network, they go to conferences, they try to figure out really where they fit. So it might be esports or tech startups or mental health care. There's all kinds of things, but basically we're giving you money to study in the program, but then also to report back to us at the end of the semester and say, hey, this is what I learned. This is who I met. And this is really exciting. That is meant to help you launch out of the program as well, because it's putting purpose to extra time that you may have to meet others in the community. And then we have all kinds of things for teaching assistant. You can help Mary Chris teach in her classes, in our really across any of our classes, undergrad or graduate. We can offer up teaching assistantships. We have one student a year who gets trained to be a trainer in design thinking, and they work alongside Garret Westlake in order to go out and train members of our community, train people in industry. Tyson Glover, who's doing that right now, was just hired full-time with Dominion Energy after doing a quick internship there. And so that's how he's finishing the program, but it was because he was training people at Dominion in design thinking, which is pretty great. So the last part here is, our makerspace is pretty small. We try not to replicate what we see in other parts of the institution. There is a makerspace in the basement, the bottom floor of the library that's open to everyone. But the College of Engineering has been so generous as to allow our students to have access to their 10,000 square foot makerspaces that they have in various places on campus. You just got to go through some safety training, and then you can go in and print all kinds of things with 3D printers. And they have a lot of different classes that you can take that are not for credit, and that can be funded by us, so that you can go get that training. Basic hand tools all the way up to like cutting metal with water, which is pretty cool. But yeah, lots of good stuff beyond just what we have here, but just kind of showing some of the perks that come with the program. Yeah.
All right, and if all that sounds good, we want to talk through just the process for applying. And so we will share these slides later, but basically, if you go to our website, so davincicenter.vcu.edu, which I'm guessing most of you have found to find these information sessions, I always just Google VCU Da Vinci, we come right up. There is a programs tab, and then if you choose graduate, it'll take you to a page that talks about this program as well as the healthcare certificate. When you choose learn more about the MPI, there's an option to scroll down and apply. I know this is a lot of steps. Like I know that the user journey is a lot of steps, but what we're doing is we're ultimately trying to help get you out to the graduate school page where you will go fill out the application. And so you can see what that looks like there. I will let everyone know that the only application available right now is our summer application. I know we talked about fall, and I'm going to talk about our early deadline for summer in just a minute. Our fall application will open December 16th, so it will be there. If you know fall is right for you, just make a little note on your calendar to start applying December 16th. We are prioritizing our summer deadline with an early application deadline, and we just don't want there to be too many things out there when you go to do that. But we are taking summer applications right now. And again, you do go to an external site and you set up an account with the graduate school. You can set that up and come back, like you can start and look at the question for the statement of intent. And like you can look at that and go back and fill it out later. So you can come in and out as many times as you need to. So as I mentioned, we do have an early application deadline of December 15th for this summer. What early application does for you is one, just get you a decision a little bit earlier so that you can start planning ahead for summer. It also puts you in the first pool of applicants. So we wait until December 15th to get all the applications that come in by that early deadline, and then we do a round of interviews. So there is an interview part of the process, and you will be in the first group to come in and be interviewed for our program if you apply by December 15th. So we have plenty of time between now and December 15th. And so if you're planning on summer, I would highly recommend hitting that deadline of December 15th. We do have another deadline. If you happen to not hit it, like you can still apply, and we'll start talking about that post-December. But I would encourage everyone who's interested in summer to go ahead and apply now. The things that we need are a statement of intent, and there is a prompt with some questions to guide that for you on the application once you get in. You need a resume. You'll need to put the names and email addresses of 3 references into the application. You don't have to have those letters like back in and loaded into the system. You don't have to like get them and load them in. You just have to put names and email addresses and let people know to expect an automated form to upload their references. Those references can be academic, they can be from an employer. We kind of like a mix of both if possible, but if you've been out of school for a while, it is okay for those to come from an employer. And if you're just now graduating, it's fine for them all to be academic. So, you know, anybody from your college experience or your college and work experience is what we're looking for there. You do need to enter a transcript request in the system. You have an option to upload your unofficial transcript, which is great. That's helpful to us in scheduling interviews and taking a look at that. Your official transcripts have to come in to finalize everything with your application. I will also make a note, this is also fine if you are still in undergraduate right now and are graduating in December or May. Like, you don't have to have graduated yet. You can start this process, put in your unofficial transcript, and we'll get the official down the road once you graduate. There is an optional portfolio, and this is detailed in the application as well. But if you have an arts background and want to submit a portfolio, that is great, kind of a traditional as you would think about submitting a portfolio for art school. But we're finding more and more people have web-based portfolios or e-portfolios that are highlighting some of like a writing sample or a sample of their photography or projects that they have done in classes or at work that are some slides from those are highlighted. So we love to see that. If you have it, it's a great way for us to get to know you better. Don't feel intimidated by this, but if it is something that you have, please, there's instructions for emailing a link to it. Please do send us that, because what we're going for in our application, again, is being really human-centered and really holistic and trying to get to know who you are as a human. So anything that you can do to help us with that is really helpful. Usually pretty exciting news for most people. You'll see my little X in the box down there. We do not require standardized testing at all. Like many programs, we suspended that during the pandemic. And as we suspected, it really doesn't impact the quality of students that we're getting. So no need to take the GRE or GMAT. If that is something you've already taken for other programs you've applied to and you want to share it with us, that's absolutely fine. But it is not required. Please don't go out and spend the money to take the test. It's nothing that we need at all. And so that is it. I'm going to stop there. I'll put just our website up. Allison and I can put our emails in the chat, just like Garrett did. We do also have a Da Vinci Center at vcu.edu. If you jot these down and are like me and can't read your handwriting later, we do have a general information account that does go to real people, and they do land where they need to land. So that is also a great option to keep in touch with us. But I will stop there. I'll leave that up for just a minute, but we are happy to take questions. You can chat those, you can unmute, whatever works for you. Thank you for putting my email address in there.
You're welcome.
I can't type and talk.
Yeah.
I do have a few questions. I think my professor put me in contact with you, Mary Chris, recently. Mayur, I believe, put us in contact.
Yes, Dr. Mohan. Yes.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yes, you have some questions about 3D printing.
Yeah, I'm actually, I have a few questions about, I'm kind of in the middle of developing a product. I have had an NDA drawn up and hopefully going to be in the patent process soon. I have quite a few questions in regards to how exactly the Da Vinci School. So like, for example, if I am studying or doing my like capstone or whatever in one specific area, but I want to develop my product outside of what I'm focusing on in school, am I still able to use those 3D printing resources, the software, the cutters, anything that I would need for my own personal projects?
Absolutely. That product that I was helping Quinn prototype on Thursday could be a full-on product. Like it really has potential, but it's really just a present for her boyfriend. But it's something that doesn't exist. So we're prototyping it. We're going to figure out how to make it work the best. Yeah.
So exciting.
I was going to say, we've definitely had people make wedding presents on our laser cutter. This one student, I don't know how many weddings she went to that year, but everyone got a cheese board with their last names in it, which was
God, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's such a good idea. And one more question. If I do have an NDA and I want to set up and shift retail, is that a kind of like a deal breaker for me to be able to put my product in to be reviewed?
I don't think it'll be possible with our public reviews for everyone to sign off an NDA. I think the key there is making sure that we get you a provisional patent, because once you have a provisional patent, it's there, it's already on record, and people can't take it from you at that point. But what that does, once you have that provisional patent, you only have 1 year to get your full patent in. So that can be a little bit of struggle, but we can always connect. I work with the provost office and kind of help students understand what their rights are in terms of NDA and IP assignments. And I have some experience in this, but I'm happy to work with you to kind of figure out how we get you in the best place, but keep your intellectual property safe. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And will that bill, I know that earlier y'all were also saying that there are a few things that would be flipped. Like, for example, if we went to a conference or we were invited to a conference, that wouldn't fall under the $1,000 budget. As far as, oh my God, the question just like fully like, it just laughed as I was speaking, man. Whenever I remember, I'll ask.
There's a difference there too. So I want to be clear on that language. If a student is accepted, so if you apply and are accepted to speak at a conference or run a workshop or be part of a conference, that is when we pay for that. So we pay for your housing and your flight. And so it's just your food that your registration for the conference. So it's just your food that you're providing, or that you're paying for in that. So that wouldn't come out of your $1,000. But if you wanted to attend a conference as an attendee, but you're not presenting, you can use part of your $1,000 to attend that conference. Yeah.
Now, will VCU also cover those 3 weeks in abroad in Europe, or is that something that
you pay for your flight and your food? So we pay for the €1,600 Euro ticket to EIA, and we pay it's about €1,000 for your 3 weeks of accommodation. So you're setting in this really nice, like brand new apartment dorm complex thing, but you have your own room. All of our master students, we don't partner you, we don't make you have roommates while you're there. You get your own space, and it is for that full 3 weeks. It's technically 3.5 weeks. You can come in 2 days early and leave 2 days after the program. And many of our students choose to either travel before or travel after while they're in Europe. I mean, why not?
Yeah, honestly. I do have one more question for you. As far as the provisional patent or any type of patent goes, would y'all be able to assist us not only in like the actual process of A to Z, but would that fall under either the $1,000 that we can use to put to, because patent, as y'all are aware, are extremely expensive. So will
Yes.
that go toward, can that go toward the patent, or will VCU help at all with the patent, or is that kind of like a line that's drawn there?
So yes, and we generally we can help get provisional patents covered. So that few $1,000s that it may take to do a provisional patent, we can usually get that covered by Tech Transfer Office. They have a fund that is set aside specifically to help protect student IP, but that doesn't mean that they own your intellectual property. There isn't any kind of IP signed over unless you want them to cover your patent, which then has to go through a review process to validate that the technology is worth it for the university to own at least part of it, that they'll be able to receive royalties later on. We can also connect you with like Nixon Peabody or Threshold Consulting, which are a couple of firms that we work with to kind of figure out what that looks like. And then in that case, that they give you a discounted rate as a student to work towards your patent. And yes, you can absolutely use that $1,000 to go towards that. But yeah, they also provide scholarships a lot of times. So at EIA, let's see, Nixon Peabody gives out about $35,000 worth of intellectual property scholarships. So we just had one of our students that's currently in the MPI who's about to graduate win the $15,000 scholarship. The top one, his team did. So his team has this $15,000 that they can spend towards IP. And I believe that in the past, Onlu has given out scholarships in the 1 week class that he teaches in the summer as well. So we will help you get there. We can figure out which path is the best. And yes, getting a patent is very expensive. We've done it through Nixon Peabody quite often with some of our students who had medical products, or one student who developed a door that works like a sliding glass door, but also opens like a French door. It's called French Slide. So we helped do patent mining on that. So taking the intellectual property he had, going from one patent and expanding it to about 29 other patents. Just by getting an ideation session rolling around his idea. So who knows, you could be a candidate for that as well, depending on what your product is. We could potentially do patent mining in the class on your product.
Shark Tank. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all's time. It's been extremely helpful.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other questions? I know I see Eric on here, who was on our call yesterday. And are the classes for part-time held during the day or the evening? Great question, Tristan. All of our classes are offered, well, I will say the vast majority of our classes that are at the graduate level are offered in the evening. So in the summertime, they might start at 5 p.m. or like 5:30 and roll until like 8:30 at nighttime in the regular semesters. So for those 500 series of classes, or for the 651, that is all in the evening from 6 to 8:40 p.m. We want to accommodate people who are working full time and provide that as an opportunity. Hopefully that's what you're looking for in that answer.
Yes, and great question. Thanks for asking that. That is really important for most people considering part-time is when the classes are.
Yeah.
Other questions?
And Chris, you're the queen of waiting to see if anything's getting typed out.
No, it's because I do it in my class, and like I'm always get ready to say something, and then there's a thing getting typed
I
out.
struggle with the silence.
It's my counseling background. I just count in my head. I do think that that it would be helpful if Zoom did the 3 dots like a text, like so you knew someone was getting it.
Yeah, so you knew someone was typing, but well, we are available to you if you email us directly from the email addresses that are in the chat. For those who may be tuning in afterwards, you can find us on our website, but this particular email address, this will get to us. It comes to us pretty frequently. It is checked every day. So regardless of how you choose to reach out to us, we are happy to answer questions. We can have one-on-one talks just to see, if this program is going to be right for you, because we want it to be a good match for you as well. Thank you everybody for your time, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Yeah, have a great evening.